right, welcome to the award-winning Ed Brown Show. I say we got Devin Walker here, and we're going to talk about a lot of things. You know, we're going to talk about taxes. We're going to talk about basketball, and we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about good times. I know some of you all know how Good Times the Kids, that was on the Steve Show. But anyway, we can talk about that since Devin here, he, you know, he has this a children's show which has been extended, so I brought him back. I mean, and you see all these instruments here. Hey, I don't let Devin do it. Hey, Devin,
hey,
welcome to the Ed Brown Show. Welcome back.
Thank you.
It's been the Ed Brown Show.
It's a pleasure to be here.
I like the green shirt.
Green. Well, see, we tell children, I say it's green. They say, no, it's orange. I said, well, what does that mean? You're thinking.
You're right.
So, yeah, no, I love my orange shirt. I usually bring my sign with me. And I feel a little out of place because I left my Uncle Devin hat. You know, I have an Uncle Devin hat that I usually wear.
Yeah.
And since I don't have it, I'll have to just show you the picture of it. But it's usually...
Yeah, I was thinking about that because see, I have another hat like this, and on another show we didn't have it. You know?
Yeah. Well, it's okay, but you know, there's still, you know, Uncle Devin, even when he goes to sleep, he takes his hat off. So, but yeah, so I just was glad to be back here.
What have you been doing? You know.
Well, since we last talked, I mean, a lot has been going on. One, I'm getting ready for a very busy summer, and I'm gonna talk about that. We got well over 45 shows already scheduled in the DMV area.
No kidding.
But right now, just to let you know, in last month we were nominated for a Washington Area Music Award, or what they call the Whammy.
The Whammy.
Yeah.
Well,
congratulations. Thank you.
All
in two categories. One was music, best children's artist, and the other one was for best music children's song. So.
Oh wow.
So we're happy about that.
You gonna play one of those songs?
Oh yeah, I'll play you one. I'll play a song in just a minute with some of these instruments. And also, I don't know if you remember the Church Usher Dance video that we shared on your show before.
Right.
And the Church Usher Dance, for those that don't know, it's a line dance that I created for children that centers around an 8-year-old named Trey. And he was pretty much never been to a secular party because he grew up in the church. So one day he gets a reprieve to go to a secular party, and all the kids are doing the latest dances. He don't know what to do. And
what's going on?
So it was a solo time, and everybody had to do a solo, and he did the only dance he knew, and that was the Church Usher Dance. Well, that video was we were honored that the International Songwriters Competition, the video actually made the semifinal list, and you're talking about thousands of videos from around the world. And we were competing up against people from Australia and Italy and Africa and all that. And so we made the semifinals list, and we were honored for that. Thank you. Thank you.
Fantastic. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, thank you. And people can see the video by going to our website at www.theuncledevinshow.com. That's THE, and then the word Devin is just like Kevin, but with a D, D-E-V-I-N.
Okay.
And then since then, we've been performing all over the place. We've been at the Smithsonian it was a Smithsonian Theater downtown. We had 4 excellent shows there. We have performed right here in Prince George's County. We've for Black History Month, we had 2 different libraries there. And up this coming weekend, we have 2 wonderful shows. Well, I don't know when the broadcast will go forward, but we're going to be performing at the Reginald L. Lewis Museum in Baltimore.
No,
they have this.
I mean, man, no wonder you said you were busy. You know.
Oh my goodness! The children's music industry has been great to us, and we're still trying to make sure that we can bring more people into the fold. And part of it is doing this, just coming and talking and letting people know that it's a thriving, viable profession. And let me say it's profession. Most people think that we're doing this for free.
Right.
No. This is a livelihood that people can make. You can become a teaching artist, which I am. We perform in schools. In fact, I have my first Prince George's County school coming up next month, and because I work with...
Which school is that?
Oh gracious. I work with Young Audiences Arts for Learning out of Maryland, and they just booked us, and maybe I'll remember it off the top
later
before
on.
I leave. But I also have made it a plan to go back to my elementary school that I grew up with, which is Roger Heights Elementary School in Bladensburg. I'm going to reach out to them.
Bladensburg.
Yes. I'm going to reach out to them and see if I can make that happen sometime next year. And I mean, sometime later, either this year or later, before the end of the year. Yeah.
I tell you.
So we have a lot
exciting.
Going on. Yes.
Exciting.
We're going to be speaking of Bladensburg, we have a show coming up in July at the Bladensburg Waterfront Park.
Now, and you know they've done a lot of work there,
Yes.
renovating on that Blazeburg Park.
And I hope people really go and take advantage of that history that's
right, because there's history there, and the setting is so beautiful
Man, it's
there.
very
You know,
beautiful.
right there
It
on the
really is.
water. You know.
But the history of how that, you know, the whole the role that played in the American wars, and it is
wow.
very rich in history.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
So we have a lot going on, and also since we last been here, our children's book, the ABCs of Percussion, has been doing very well.
Oh, ABC of percussion.
Percussion, yeah. For every letter of the alphabet, there is a percussion instrument named after it. And then it comes with the audio music CD where they can, I'll be reading the book, but they can also hear what each instrument sounds like aloud. So for example, I brought 2 of the instruments that I feature here in the book. Have you ever seen an instrument like this before?
No, I haven't. I was thinking of a bowling ball.
Right. With an extended handle, right?
With an extended handle. I thought maybe this is the new style now. You know, to change the bowling ball and putting your hand inside of it, you stay outside. Tell us a little bit about it and how it's made.
Okay,
You know?
this is called an udu.
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 Now, where did that come from? Udu.
You do what you do. Udu is once played by Nigerian females. It has its origin in West Africa. And it's an Igba vessel drum, also used at a well. So sometimes you'll see when it's not cut out, they will take it and use it to pitch water to carry back to the village.
So it had multiple purposes.
Absolutely. Everything we do always generally have multiple purposes, and this was one of them. But generally, like I said, was played by Nigerian females. And I favor a big flower pot with holes on each side, making unique bass sounds when I'm struck with pride. And
you're going to illustrate that for us.
I'm not a udu expert, but
you know, you can use it.
That's right. That's right. And
yeah, you do.
And so you see that you have 2 different holes here. You have one on the top, you have one on the side. And it's actually made of, most of them are made of iron and metal, so this is pretty sturdy.
Made of iron and metal.
It's pretty sturdy.
I mean, how do you make that, you know, iron and metal?
Well, it's...
the process must be...
Oh, yeah. You got some very, very good, what do you call the folks that actually process this type of metal?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And if you look at the different designs that they can create, this one is not even as unique as some of the more original ones from Africa.
Now, what part of Africa is that from?
Most of them, this one here was made by Latin Percussion. More than likely, this particular one may have been made here in the United States, but the original ones typically have their origin out of West Africa, out of Nigeria in particular. And you hear the different sounds. The first, when you just hit it, it may not make too much sound, but when you cover up the holes and play it.
Oh.
And so I'm not an expert player at it yet, but you can see how.
And the bass there, what is that? Is that comes with it, or
yes,
or that's separate? Okay.
It comes with it. Some may come like this, or they even sometimes have an actual stand that this will sit in, so that way you don't even have to use the rest of your body. You can just concentrate on, and it will kind of hold it more stationary. Stationary,
right?
And while you play it. And if you imagine if you can put a microphone to it.
Oh, wow.
It carries
percussion.
Yes.
Boom.
And you hear it in a lot of beautiful music. You hear a lot of people in Asia use it in a lot of their music. And so I love to be able to bring this for show and tell and let children to be, you know,
now, that's what I was getting ready to say. The children would be elated to work with that.
Absolutely.
You wouldn't have to force them. They would enjoy it.
And what you'll find is that
because it's original.
It's original. Yeah. And you'll find that they'll start making their own instruments out of whatever they have.
Right.
You know, so that's how all percussion instruments started. In fact, a lot of the instruments, like I say, have multiple purposes. You hear some people use the desktop, you know, I mean, or lunch tables.
Oh yeah,
and make music, driving teachers crazy. I used to do that when I was little. But these, you know, and if you cover up one and hit this, you get one sound. Whereas if you let it go, then you come up with another one. Or the same thing here. covered.
Then a group of kids, they enjoy that instrument because you would have your own and you would be original with
That's
your
right.
sound, and then we get together.
Yeah,
then
exactly.
finally, then we have a team. We have
Yeah.
then we have orchestra.
What we call a percussion orchestra. Yes.
Right, exactly.
And so this is called the Udu. And so again, I'm definitely not an expert at it, but I love to be able to share it. And then the other instrument beside you, more people are probably more familiar with this one than anything else. It's called a shakeré. And
those beats are beautiful.
oh yeah, these are beads.
Wow.
Again,
they're handmade. Everything's handmade there too.
exactly.
And you call that the shakers.
The shakeré. This one was actually made by Ballet from African Drum Works, I think it is, out in Forestville, Maryland. He is the premier African drummer in the United States in terms of making.
Kidding.
He makes all original equipment. So right here in Prince George's County.
Right here in Prince George
over
County.
in Forestville. It's called,
And that exposure, you're giving youngsters that exposure.
Absolutely.
Right here in the county.
and his history is
Yeah,
immaculate.
right.
It's immaculate. I mean, it's called Ballet African Drums in Forestville. And the shakeré, once again, has its origins in West Africa. It says West African, it says shakeré, with West African beads galore. Knitted together, I make a rattle outside the gourd. This is what they call a gourd. Similar to the Udu, it is something that is used to also, you can use it to transport water, but
Multi-purpose.
or food or whatever you may want out of it, and they've also put beads around it to be able to make a sound. And it says,
Make it attractive.
and sometimes I'm shaken,
Hey!
or I'm hit with a hand. Let's see if I can do that without losing my page.
And then you can develop your own type of sound and music.
From folklore to popular music, I'm known across the land. And so and it's a funny way to play it because I'm still learning, but I like to equate it to almost like dribbling a basketball. I'm still learning how to play this thing.
You're still taking lessons.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many percussion instruments that are out here, and
they're unique. That's the thing. It's not something that a youngster would have to spend a lot of money to get involved in and learn how to play.
learn how to play. That's right.
You see what I mean? Because if you make a mistake on something,
That's right.
and then they can express themselves.
Absolutely.
That's the thing I like
Absolutely.
about that. For instance, you may hit it one way and I hit it another.
right.
Well, we get a different sound. We say, hey, that sounds good. We get together.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward. I ran into a tap dancing troupe out in Montgomery County. And we said we were going to get together because they were some excellent tap dancers. Well, I had the idea of doing that and also doing the hand bone while they're doing the tap dance.
Wow. Hey.
Coming up with different things while they're doing it, doing their part. And so children, some people can use their hands. I mean, just using your hands are percussion instruments because
Sure.
a percussion instrument is when you take two objects and hit them together for the purpose of making music. So you can clap the traditional way, or you can do something like I saw Dizzy Gillespie start a band one time. He went, So many different things
Very
that
good.
you can end up doing just to
Yeah,
bring in some music.
original. That's the thing that I like about it, and that attracts youngsters.
Yes.
When they can express themselves.
That's right.
They don't have to look at the paper and say, well, let's
That's
look
right.
at the notes, and play the notes.
That's right.
Because my grandchildren, my son wanted to introduce them to musical instrument, and they had violin, had all of them, and the fact that they're so structured, make youngsters lose their interest.
That's right.
But with percussion, the individualism of the child can be expressed.
Absolutely.
And they love that.
Absolutely.
Because they can invent
That's
the
right.
type of song, type of sound
Right.
that they want and that they feel that is appropriate.
And you know, when I remember learning a lot when I was younger and I was part of the Prince George's County Youth Orchestra. And being in the percussion ensemble, you know, you had the timpani drum. I don't know if you know the big timpani drum.
Yeah.
They call it the kettle drum. Its
Yeah.
original name
I'm
is the kettle
familiar
drum.
with that. Yeah.
And of course for my letter K, that's what I use is the kettle drum. But they also call it the timpani. But you know, playing instruments like that, like the bass drum, the cymbals, those big heavy cymbals when you have to play.
Right.
Up to the xylophone or the marimba, and you can take an individual sound and you master your particular instrument. Then when it comes together and you play it in an ensemble, that's where the discipline comes in, because you now have to communicate with others, and you have to work together. So it's teaching teamwork, discipline, communication, and togetherness. And so it's just a beautiful opportunity. But I do believe it all starts with a child just being given an instrument and let them explore. Let them explore, how does it work? How do you do it? And in today's times, in terms of learning how to play an instrument, you can go right on YouTube, and there's so many free videos and instruments on how to teach you how to play a musical instrument.
Is that right? Because I remember when back then the only musical instrument, it seems, that was because they were available in the church, was a piano.
There was a piano. That's
right.
right.
So the parents always introduced you to the piano.
That's
you know?
right. That's right.
Because they knew they didn't have to worry about the instrument or
That's right.
anything of that nature. You know.
That's right.
They had every church had a piano.
Had a piano. And did you know the piano is a percussion instrument? Most people don't realize that it's a percussion instrument. But piano is a percussion instrument because inside of it is a mallet that when you push down on the keys, the mallet hits the string, and that makes it a percussion instrument. And so I use it in my children's book, P is for percussion.
Well, actually, that teaches them. And most of the youngsters don't understand. That's a simple analogy that you have there. That they figure, you know, well, they don't make the 800-pound piano anymore. They got these little piano, little keyboards that you really can get involved in. You know?
That's right.
It's definitely educational instrument.
It really is. And even the electrical piano is still a percussion instrument, because in order to play it, you're pressing down on something. So that process still makes it and keeps it in the percussion family. And again, using YouTube, I mean, that's how I learned how to play the ukulele. I started off was curious. I went on YouTube, and literally in about a half hour, I had learned very basic chords on how to play certain things.
No kidding.
And it's one of the
in a half an hour?
In a half hour.
Wow.
Playing a ukulele.
Okay, give us an illustration there.
I'll show you, like, for example, when I learned, they just taught me how to play 3 chords, the most basic 3 chords. The C chord is basically, and when you hear this chord, it was a C, it was the F, and it was the G. And so just using those 3, I'm just going to do some different vamps on that and see when. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z, X. Now I know my ABCs. Next time, won't you sing with me? Just those 3 notes.
Just those 3 notes, you're able to put that.
You can play so many, or we're going to rock. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, rock. 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, rock. 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, rock. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight. Put your dancing shoes on and join the sun. We're gonna get down to the clock strike 1. We're gonna rock around that clock tonight. We're gonna rock, rock, rock to the broad daylight. We're gonna rock all around the clock tonight. So there's so many songs that I found that are just based on those 3 notes. You can play
just those 3 notes, and the youngsters gravitate to that.
That's right.
Because it's not complex.
It really isn't.
See,
really isn't.
that's what I mean. And then they go a step further as far as the instrument itself is concerned.
When you start getting into it and you start creating your own, so using those same chords, I created my own song to teach children about thinking.
Okay, tell us about it.
Okay, you know, one of the most important things that, especially at an early age, we have to stress the importance of thinking. Don't just accept what we say as fact. Hold on to it and then prove it right or wrong based upon your own research. So just think, you know, that way. And so the song I did was called Hey Everybody, I Got a Message for You. There's something every day that you must do. Let me tell you something, it won't cost you nothing to learn right from wrong and what's false from what's true. It can be done in the sun or the rain, using the muscle in your head called the brain. Information is fine to develop your mind all the time. I said, now you're thinking, got to be thinking. You must be thinking, must be thinking. And so I have some other verses that go with it. In fact, one verse that I have talks about Christopher Columbus.
Is that right?
Yeah. And talking about thinking.
That'd be interesting.
And at the end of the verse, it just talks about, you know, it goes, the other day in my history class, we learned a lot of facts about the folks from the past, like Christopher Columbus used the early compass to discover America and its landmass. But you said, wait a minute, how can that be? The Native Americans were here, can't you see? For thousands of years before Columbus appeared, they were here. Now, what are you doing? Now you're thinking. Now you be thinking. So that just shows them the process of, wait a minute, everyone know that there were people here.
Right.
How can you discover a place where people already reside?
Right, exactly.
And so using an instrument like this and then finding unique, fun ways to use music to teach basic principles is really what we do at the Uncle Devin Show.
Okay, when you talk about basic principles, give us a couple of them that you...
Sure.
Okay.
Well, one of the basic principles is telling the truth. I don't know how to play that one on the ukulele, but I have a song on my first CD called Tell the Truth.
Okay.
And I actually told a story of when I was in the 4th grade and I lied to my parents. Well, I lied to my teacher. And then the teachers called my parents in, and then I got in trouble for lying.
Right.
And I talked about the importance of telling the truth because, you know, we all think that, you know, telling the truth, you can get away with anything, but there's no lie can ever live forever.
Sooner or later.
Sooner or later,
it comes out.
So that's one. Another basic truth that we teach about that I'm going to be talking about on my upcoming CD is really being yourself. That's what the song, the Church Usher Dance was. It was,
and that's important because what you're talking about peer pressure.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, don't worry about what Johnny Jones or Mary is doing. You develop your own talents
and be happy with who
with
you are.
it. Well, with it,
because you're the only you there will ever be. There will never ever, as I used to say, there will never ever. Never ever be another one of you. Be yourself.
No matter what sister or brother.
That's right.
See, a lot of people don't understand that. You know, I'm your sister, I'm your brother, whatever.
That's right.
It doesn't make it. You are an individual.
That's right.
See?
That's right.
And most of them don't get that. They get into the peer. And that's one of the problems I have with youngsters, trying to satisfy peers.
But let me ask you this, Mr. Brown, in your experience, and you can answer this question, where do our children, especially in the black community, get its information? Where, I mean... They're
indoctrinated by the system.
Well, see, and that's the key.
The educational system has indoctrinated. I've said that repeatedly.
Absolutely.
And your idea about Columbus discovering America is a good example of that. Right. The average person, if they don't do any homework, they don't read, then they believe that, you know. But when common sense tells you, you know, actually, if it wasn't for the natives here, we would have been able to actually develop this land because they knew the land.
That's right. That's right.
You know what I mean? They didn't have to learn anything. They knew how to survive. They've been here thousands of years. Yeah. So surviving was a natural thing.
And I think a great exercise for any child to do is study names. What is a name? Why is it called Maryland? Maryland. Why is it
Maryland.
called? Why do we call it Indian Head Highway? What does that mean?
Right.
You know,
It has a history.
It has a
Has
history behind it.
association.
Absolutely.
With this. The same thing with families too. You go from different neighborhoods, and you find there was a farm there,
That's
and
right.
now they call it Number One Oaks.
Yes.
And actually, the name of the farm is what they call the community.
Right,
And
right.
and then when you go into the community, the name of the streets are people
Right.
that own the farmers
That's
that
right.
own the land.
That's right.
They have their family names into the development of the street.
That's
a lot
right.
of people say, where did they get this Owen so and so?
That's
Where
right.
did this name? What did this mean? You know, but everywhere you go, no matter where you go, when land is developed,
Right.
neighborhoods are developed, it has a history.
It has a history.
It has a history.
And we got to think, and that's
Yeah.
why we say we ask those questions. I think that's very important.
Yeah,
Very important.
definitely.
Yeah.
Why is something done? And so that's the learning process that you're doing, Devin, which I just love because it's reality, and it's not you're approaching it in a way that kids on every level can understand it and enjoy it.
That's right.
See,
That's right.
see, it's tough when you have to learn something you don't enjoy. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
But if you're enjoying, you become positive.
And the other good thing about children's music, at least for my music, is I try to make it repetitive. In every song, I'm saying one principle over and over again. Tell the truth. Don't play with me. No more lies. Don't play with me. Tell the truth. And so I want them to just walk away singing that, because if anything else, they'll always have that constant reminder.
Now, what about mentors in your group? Do you get volunteer mentors? Because what's so very important is having a subject that you are speaking of, is having mentors. When the youngsters, they have different people in the neighborhood that volunteer to work with your group. How do you do that?
Well, what I've been doing in terms of my mentorship, I've been mentoring a lot of other artists, especially some younger artists who want to move into the field of children's music. My next phase is to establish a community-based process, because I have so many musical instruments, most of which was donated to me in my lifetime. It's not mine to hog. I got to share it back with the community. So I've done a lot of that, and I do a lot of that in terms of teaching people about the actual process of the children's music industry. The reason why I asked you even that question earlier was that there's still in the black community. I did a study since we last got together, and it showed that most people feel that there's a need for children's music, but there is no children's music programming anywhere that thrives in the black community on any of our major television or radio stations. None. And I ask people to even think of any. Now they can think of Sesame Street, and even though Sesame Street's origin was based on teaching inner city children, but what about the BETs of the world or Radio
well,
Ones
sometimes what makes it different? We're getting ready to just about wrap here.
Okay.
So I want to thank you for being here, but I just wanted to mention the fact that Stephen Curry, the fact that he's #1, and the fact that two is that what about taxes? We got a man that's out there running that's not even thinking about turning his taxes in. He wants to be the the president of the United States. They're talking about the taxes. Will come. They're going to check his taxes and when they're going after the election. Ridiculous. This has been Ed Brown.